Senator Conroy, the same question to you. When will your plan be ready? How fast will it be, and what will it cost?
Well, Labor's plan is to reach 98% of Australians' homes and businesses. It's a plan that is costed at $8 billion. A Labor government, if elected, would contribute up to $4.7 billion of this to ensure that it was a truly national network. It's a plan that is about a 5-year build, but Helen likes to keep saying, oh, no one will get access to it till 2013. This is a plan that allows you, as exchanges are upgraded, as cable is replaced by fibre, as nodes and pillars are upgraded, it can be switched on street by street, suburb by suburb, city by city, progressively across the country. This is Labor's commitment.
But just on the cost to consumers, you didn't cover that?
Oh, sorry. Look, Helen seems to have a fixation about believing as minister she's entitled to set prices in the marketplace. Labor has a very simple philosophy on this, that the independent statutory authority called the ACCC, that's its job to determine prices in discussions with the winning tenderer. It's not a minister's job to say this is what a product should cost.
But the idea of the ACCC setting a price for someone like Telstra, who may own half of your new broadband network, we've seen Telstra and the ACCC at loggerheads for years over pricing. Wouldn't we see the same situation?
The ACCC make decisions and Telstra challenge them. The ACCC will make its decisions, and Telstra, if Telstra wants to challenge that, that's fine. But it is the statutory role. We have set up an independent statutory authority so we don't get situations where politicians go behind closed doors with companies like Telstra, as Helen Coonan did earlier this year, and try and set a price of $85 for wholesale access. Graham Samuel and the ACCC stood up and said, no, we won't accept that, because what Helen Coonan was trying to do was save her political hide and make sure Australians paid more because she wanted a deal with Telstra.
You see,
Graham Samuel said no.
The problem with Steve Conroy's case here is that he doesn't have a clue what price consumers are going to be slugged for this new broadband network. That won't be available until 2013, and the best he can do is to send us all back to the future. So we're back with Telstra trying to set prices, and the process there just to set the ULL price took 18 months. I mean, Australia needs a high-speed broadband before 2013, and we do need to ensure that we can go ahead with prices that are available to consumers. They know what they'll get, $35 to $60. That is a good deal.
Senator Conroy, if I can invite you to respond to that, in particular the idea that not much of it will be ready until 5 years.
Well, as I said, as each exchange is upgraded, as each piece of copper cable is replaced by fibre, as each node is upgraded,
so in the next
as each
term
pillar,
of government, do we know how much of the nation will be covered?
The whole network will take 5 years to roll out. This is not some quick fix, Band-Aid solution. This isn't my 18th broadband plan in 11 and a half years. This is a national piece of infrastructure. We will be able to start rolling out 12 megs to people by the end of next year. It will be street by street. Helen doesn't know Labor's plan. She continues to make up information as she goes.
You've said it's based on Telstra's plan. I know it intimately.
This is as each exchange is upgraded, as each piece of copper is replaced, as each node and pillar is upgraded, you switch on the network. It's a progressive rollout around the country, not as Helen Coonan continues to assert and try and talk over me and say it can't be turned on till 2013. This is a fiction.
Can I just have a little talk about timing? I can appreciate that Steve really is very uninformed about the government processes that he will have to go through in order to have an open and transparent process. Let me just enlighten him as to what he might have to do. He'll have to prepare and publish and consult on the criteria for a $4.7 billion tender. He'll have to have the industry write and submit their proposals against the criteria. He'll have to form an expert assessment panel, get rid of the one that's there, and have it assessed each of the industry proposals. He'll have to seek all the cabinet approvals, and then he's going to have to actually pass legislation to dig into the future fund, to knock off the savings of Australian soldiers there in the future fund, to abolish the communications fund, and then it gets worse. So he's got to pass all that legislation, then have the ACCC set access prices, including conducting mandatory consultation. Now that will take more than 6 months, it'll take more than a year, and in fact he'll be sitting here talking about this at the next election if he's the minister, and he won't have rolled out one node or one bit of fibre.
Senator Conroy, a quick response to that.
Helen is just making up a fair campaign. She will say anything and do anything.
These are the-
We have said that we will have a 6-month process. We'll obviously be guided by the legal advice, but a 6-month process, that is our ambition, so that we can then...
Or time limit.
Well, the
Can you guarantee
government
that you'll have it
lawyers
ready
will
in
give
6
us advice about the proper processes. This won't be like
they will tell you
broadband
it'll take
connect.
longer.
Let's just have the answer here.
This will not be like the Broadband Connect process, where Helen Coonan changed the guidelines after the tenders were closed, increased the available money by 50%, only told one tenderer, and then announced a tender. This will be a proper process conducted with probity. So we'll be guided by the lawyers. Our ambition is to have it announced within 6 months. We will then begin the rollout.
Let's look then, Minister, at your action or inaction, as Labor would say, on broadband. You have you've committed to put almost $1 billion of taxpayers' money into regional broadband, into this WiMAX network.
Well, it's a mix of technologies, and the reason for that, David, is very clear. That in a country as vast as Australia, that's the 6th largest landmass in the OECD, but has the 3rd less concentration of population, one technology, fibre to the node, simply won't reach 98% of the population, and that's the fundamental flaw in Labor's plan. It's simply, no matter what they do, it will not reach 98% of the population, because the technology won't reach beyond 1.5 kilometres from an exchange, and 98% of the population don't live that close to built infrastructure like an exchange.
It's tragic that a minister is someone informed about technology in her portfolio. She's just stated, and she wrote this in her original press release, that you can only reach 1.5 kilometres for broadband from an exchange. This is actually scientifically wrong. Helen Coonan continues to try and rewrite the laws of physics. Tragically, she can't. Labor's building and upgrading nodes and pillars, and you can go along the fibre to those nodes and the pillars.
What price would you possibly do that for?
When Helen keeps asserting that it's 1.5 kilometres from an exchange, it's just embarrassing.
All right,
it isn't. And can I just finish my former question? Thank you. When I got interrupted, was the important thing is that anyone who knows anything about technology at all knows that you need a mix of technologies to be able to deliver in different conditions, particularly in rural and regional Australia. And WiMAX has now been mandated by the United Nations International Telecommunications Union, the real experts on WiMAX, as a first-class broadband standard recommended for rural and regional areas. So you need a mix. You need fibre, you need WiMAX, you need ADSL, you need all of these technologies to be able to give a complete and comprehensive service.
You've criticised Labor's plan for taking too long, but when are we going to see this OPEL network, this regional broadband network you've committed to, start to be rolled out? You've talked about benchmarks that OPEL will have to reach before taxpayers' money will be put in.
When it'll be rolled out.
What are those benchmarks? Why haven't the terms of agreement been released publicly? When are we going to see it? Well,
the terms of the agreement have got some commercial in confidence information, but I expect that the first WiMAX part of the rollout, the fibre rollout, the upgrade of the fibre rollout has already started. So the rollout has already started. The WiMAX switch on will be very soon. It could even be as early as next week. It will be all completed by mid-2009. Now, this is real, costed, happening and rolling out as we speak, as against some undeliverable pie-in-the-sky plan that seriously cannot be delivered for $8 billion,
just sticking with your
and certainly
plan.
not
Just
till
sticking
2013.
with you've talked about 12 megabits per second. Where in the world has WiMAX delivered that?